Hello there, welcome back to my gaming vault, and today I'm going to be taking a look at another Commodore 64 budget game, and that game is Shanghai Warriors. So let's, as always, start by taking a look at the fact file for the game. Shanghai Warriors was released in 1989 in Europe. It was published by Players and it was developed by Imperial Software Designs. The price I paid for the game was £2.05, and the current going rate for the game if you want to buy a copy on eBay is £3 to £6. So let's waste no more time and take a look at Shanghai Warriors. Let's take a close look at the packaging for the game then, and Players Software typically at this point in time released all their games in a similar style of packaging. It was a white background with all these different coloured shapes on, the Players logo at the bottom and a yellow border around an image that represented the game. As you can see, we've got the Shanghai Warriors logo in a kind of oriental style font there, and also an image of what is presumably the Shanghai Warrior fighting some army guys. There's a tank in the background, he's punching one and he's kind of doing a backhand hit to one of the others as well. There's a knife flying up in the air there. Obviously the army guy's got a gun as well, so presumably that represents the game itself. There's the spine, which again was pretty typical for the Players packaging, with the game logo in the middle and the Players logo on one side and the system information on the left hand side. And on the back we've got some screenshots, which you can see it's a scrolling fighter. What's quite funny about these screenshots, if I zoom in closely enough, you can see that they actually paused the game to take them, and you can see that it says game paused. Move joystick to continue or move joystick to start, it says at the top there, so that's quite interesting. So it looks like we've got a kind of army barracks area perhaps on that one there. There's an airport, there's a submarine in the background of that one, and another kind of a warehouse thing there. And the description of the game says, mercenaries led by the evil Snide Gantry have stolen a US Navy submarine threatening to devastate the world's capitals with its awesome arsenal of nuclear destruction. Only you stand in his way. Snide Gantry, that's a heck of a name for a villain in a game. Here's a look at the tape for the game then, and again you've got the Shanghai Warriors logo on it. It's quite nicely done this. It's a colourful label stuck onto a black cassette. You've got the Players logo and the Players sort of symbol of this guy made up of different shapes and stuff on the right hand side as well. Nice and colourful. So let's move inside the inlay and see what we've got. We've got some adverts for other games from Players. So we've got Eagle's Nest there, and we've also got Joe Blade is mentioned, Joe Blade 2 and Power Play. So various games with the accolades for them from various magazines on there as well. Plenty of promotion of the other titles. Oh, it goes on because there's more. There's also F-14 Tomcat advertised on the inside. It'll take your breath away. I wonder if that's a nod towards Top Gun there. And also Joe Blade 2, there's more about that as well. So let's move on to the actual instructions for the game, which only take up one panel on this inlay. So you've got the loading instructions. Then it goes on to talk about the legend of Lo Yin, karate master, and the legend is well known. Pursued across Imperial China by an evil tyrant and his ninja assassins, Lo finally defeated his sworn enemy Wang Chen in Shanghai's infamous Dragon Temple. After the sensational victory, he established the Dragon Temple Karate Academy, where young warriors were taught how to use their combat skills to uphold the traditional karate values of freedom, honor and justice, fighting evil and corruption wherever and whenever they found it. Okay, some good background there. It then goes on to talk about mercenaries led by Snide Gantry have stolen a submarine. This has already been covered on the back cover really. Attempts by the combined forces of MI5 and the CIA to destroy the sub have failed, so the governments concerned have been forced to take the only course of action left open to them, which is send in one guy from the Dragon Temple Karate Academy, it would appear. So your warrior is controlled by joystick. Moving the joystick in any of the 8 directions will cause your warrior to move in that direction. Surprise, surprise. And also you hold down the fire button for all these moves. So we've got high punch, low kick, low punch, low punch. They're the same moves. Okay, let's look at that again. We've got headbutt, jump, high punch, low kick and low punch, and also duck or pick up a weapon. And it says if you pick up the lethal weapon, either Uzi machine gun, knife or ninja star, it'll be displayed at the bottom of the screen. A counter will also be displayed showing how many times you may use your collected weapon. Okay, so obviously it's a scrolling fighter, we know that much, and it looks like you can pick up weapons to dispatch your enemies as well. And just to finish off, we've got some credits. The original version by Kevin Parker and Colin Swinburne and Jabba7, and the C64 version by Imperial Software Designs. Music by Mark Wilson, and story, textuals and shots by Cy Daniels. And also still available is Shanghai Karate. As if there weren't enough adverts in there already, there's another one. So there we go, that's the instructions, quite comprehensive and colourful. Let's see how the game is when we load it up. Okay then, so the game is loaded, no loading screen on this one, and as you can see it's a pretty bland title screen. Nice logo at the bottom there, programmed by Imperial Software Designs. The top bit not so good, Shanghai Warriors kind of seems to be only half written on the screen for some reason. There's no credits or high score table on this one. There is some pretty decent music in the background though, that's by Mark Wilson. That bit's not that good to be honest, but overall I think it's a pretty nice tune on the title screen. But yeah, as I say, nothing else in the way of credits or anything like that. So as you can see it says press fire to play, so let's press fire to play. Okay, so as you see at the top of the screen there it said get ready warrior. You can see it says Shanghai Warriors in the middle of the screen. It's got a score and a couple of lives and a high score, and yeah, basically it's a scrolling fighter, Double Dragon style I guess you might say, where you've got to get to the end of the, I think there's 3 levels, and get to this nuclear submarine to disarm it or whatever it said in the instructions. So the first thing you'll notice is that your character and the enemy characters are exactly the same except for the different coloured trousers. So you're the guy with the blue ones and all the other enemies all have red ones, and as far as I know that's the only kind of enemy you face in the game. I've not got to the end of it, but they all look exactly the same. So you've got a few moves. You've got a kick. Oh, I've lost a life. So yeah, you've got a kick, which is holding down fire and pushing towards the enemy, right or left. If you push up, then you've got a jump, which serves no other purpose because you can't jump anywhere. If you push in a diagonal, then you punch, that's diagonally up, and if you push down, then you crouch down. And I think that's it. Oh no, if you push against the opposite direction, then there's another punch that you do, and up left in this case, the opposite direction from the way you're facing, is a headbutt. Nice headbutt with a bit of noise there as well. The sound effects are pretty poor in this game though. Graphics are pretty nice in terms of the backgrounds, and the characters don't look too bad until you start moving, and then his walk is, well, you could look at it as a macho sort of walk, or you could look at it as mincing. You've also noticed that the enemies all just stop dead. There's quite a lot of bugs in this game, and the enemies quite often stop completely still, don't attack you. Sometimes they'll come on the screen backwards, and sometimes they will just kind of stick in mid-air or jump randomly and things like that. So yeah, I'm trying to fight these enemies. One thing I'll also notice, and that's game over, is that there's no health bar. Let's just go again. So you don't know when you're close to losing a life because there's no health bar. Also, there's no health bar for the enemies either, so you don't know how close you are to killing them. You're kind of just kicking away and hoping for the best, and they're doing the same at you. As you can see, you've got an enemy that's just stopped dead again there. It's not a good game. Let's pick up a power up. So when you pick up a power up, you get an Uzi machine gun, and that means you can just kill the enemies. Look at that guy, he's just kind of skating towards me. Now he's stopped dead but didn't die. That guy fell over and died. That guy fell over and died. But yeah, it's just basically walk along. I mean, as all these games are, walk from left to right, defeating the enemies, but all the enemies are exactly the same. And when you get one of the power-up weapons, as in the Uzi in this case, the karate or kung fu fighting aspect goes completely out the window. I just killed him and he just like kind of stood there in mid-air like a statue. So now I've picked up a throwing knife, which again, one hit kills the enemies. So when you've got a weapon, the fighting aspect goes completely out the window because you can just kill them all with one hit. You can move up and down the screen to some extent as well as moving backwards and forwards. That guy was moonwalking towards me there. Let's see what we get next. And you get things like that. You fire a weapon and the weapon that's on the floor disappeared, so now I can't replenish my weapons. It's just terrible. So here I'm mincing along in a very barren area with the occasional enemy coming on the screen. Quite often they come on behind you and you can just carry on walking and they'll just follow behind you at a slightly faster pace. Yeah, so here's some ninja shuriken throwing stars to pick up now, and again you can just do exactly the same thing. As I said, background's pretty reasonably well drawn. The status bar is quite nicely drawn as well. The sprites are nicely drawn. They're not nicely animated, but first impressions from the back cover, this looked like it could be quite a decent game, but the reality soon sets in that it's really, really poor.
So I'll just carry on moving along. No music in game, just the very bare minimum of sound effects when you're fighting. And here's another power up to pick up, so I'll grab that. No, that disappeared because I fired a throwing star and the Uzi disappeared, so I'll just carry on. So I'll just carry on walking. The other thing you'll notice, because I will ultimately eventually lose a life, is that when you lose your first life, the life at the bottom, the head of your character, doesn't disappear. Look at these guys all just standing here waiting. It's like, does anyone actually want to fight me? I'll just stand over here and do nothing, shall I? Yeah, so when you lose your first life, the first head doesn't disappear, so it looks like you haven't lost a life. And then when you lose your second one, it does, and when you lose the third one, well, it's game over, so you don't actually see the other head disappear. So again, poor programming there. I mean, it's just really bad. Basically, the kick seems to be the only thing that makes any contact with them as well when you are fighting. And look at that, so I'm pushing to the right at the moment there, and as I died, I could still scroll along the ground as I was dead. It's just a really poorly programmed game. I feel like I killed that guy twice. I'm just going to walk past these guys. I can't walk past him. That guy's kind of stuck in the middle of the screen, sort of clashing. Yeah, I'm just going to walk past him. Try and negotiate my way as far as possible without losing a life. Just kill him off. I think I'm pretty near the end of the first stage. There's no end of level bosses or anything like that. Yeah, there we go, level completed. You can literally just walk past the 3 enemies and complete the level. So here I am on level 2, which is I don't know, somewhere like a dirty kind of area with tanks in or something. There's a tank there, I think. Yeah, there's a tank. I thought there was a tank. So yeah, we're in a kind of the first area is like the docks or something like that, and now we're in a warehouse area. Now we're in another area with a bunch of buildings and the same bunch of red trousered enemies. Yeah, I mean, that guy's dead now. He just didn't disappear off the screen. It's really, really poor. Oh, that guy's dead as well. He just hasn't vanished yet. So I'm just gonna, I've got the throwing stars again. That guy was moonwalking towards me again. I mean, it's so badly programmed. I don't know how it got past any kind of quality control, and it's a shame because, like I say, the background looks pretty nice. Lost the Uzi there again. I've still got 6 throwing stars left though. So yeah, and the guy's walking is hilarious, but you know, it's not. It's got the basics of a good game in terms of the graphics and the design of the levels and all that kind of stuff. It's just, what happened there? I didn't pick that up, so I didn't get the knives. Yeah, it's just the gameplay is just really like boring, and the bugs just make it hilarious. See if I can sneak past this guy to get that sword. There we go, or knife, sorry. So yeah, I am on my last life. I don't suppose there's any extra lives to be earned anywhere. I mean, it's just a really bad game. Probably the worst game I've played on this series. I would go so far as to say. I can't think of anything that was worse. Most of the games have had some redeeming quality, but I can't think of anything in this other than the graphics look quite nice. But good graphics and terrible gameplay don't make for a good experience, generally speaking. I'm probably going to die soon because I've got no idea, as I said, no health bar, so no idea whether I'm close to being killed or I've still got a bit of energy left. It's just really, really bad. And when you haven't got a weapon, there we go, that's game over. When you haven't got a weapon, it's really hard to get past the enemies, so you don't make any progress and more come on the screen. But yeah, that's it. That's all I'm doing for this review. There's no point playing it again. You've seen a level and a half of absolute dross. Needless to say, that's going on the for sale pile, and that will do for this one. If you've got any thoughts about it, then let me know in the comments, and I can't imagine any of them are going to be complimentary.
Well, that was an absolutely terrible game, wasn't it? Ironically, I bet that sold a load of copies back in the day simply because of how popular those scrolling beat-em-ups were. Bit of a shame there, but there you go. Let's see if we can draw a better game out for next time around out of the tin. It couldn't be much worse, to be honest. If there's worse games than that in here, then I'm in for a bit of a sad time. So next time around, I'm going to be playing, when I can draw it out, Putt and Putter, which is a Sega Master System game. Hopefully it'll be better than Shanghai Warriors. As I said, I don't think it'll be much worse. Join me for that next time around. Thanks very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.